So 2025 is just around the corner and you have this wonderful plan of coming to live in Japan. But by now you should know that this is quite a big change. It's a big leap in your life. And there are many things that social media and even actual guidebooks don't tell you about the reality of coming to live in a country like Japan. Particularly if you're coming as an entrepreneur. After all, that's what I did. That's what this channel is all about. And I've always found it particularly infuriating when I'm trying to find actual real information on how to come live and work in Japan. But all I can find is what the best viewing places for cherry blossoms are and where can I have the best sushi and the best onigiri in town and Kobe beef and all that. Those things are beautiful, they're wonderful, yes, it's true, but it's also useless entertainment and pointless information that does not apply to you right now. So today I would like to give you the real information you need, like understanding your health insurance, your tax systems, and everything you need to have set up when you come to Japan so that you can properly start your business in this country if that's what you're trying to do. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gabriel. I'm a business owner living in Tokyo, Japan for over 6 years, where I currently run and manage my own business. And so with that out of the way, let's get to our first point. Now, the first thing you need to do, and this is long before you actually set foot in Japan, is search for the right type of visa for you. Now, you have to have very clear in your mind what exactly it is that you're trying to do in this country. Are you coming here to work for a company? Are you coming here to work for your company back home? Or are you coming here maybe to try to become an entrepreneur and start your own business like I did? Now, you have to have that very clear in your head because that's actually going to set you down a very different path. Because you might think, well, maybe I'll just go and get a job at a company and then at the same time I'll start my business on the side. But unfortunately, generally that's not how things work here in Japan. You'll see, when you get a job here in Japan, the government will actually offer you a work visa. And that means that you're actually only allowed to earn your income legally by doing the work that your visa was approved for. So, for example, if you come here as an English teacher, then you can only earn your income by being an English teacher. Or if you're an engineer, you can only earn your income by doing engineer work. Now, if you'd like to do another kind of work, likely you're going to have to get some form of legal permission from the government. Or if you'd like to maybe start your own business on the side, then there's a whole other sort of paperwork you're going to have to get and maybe even change your visa and all that. So if you're coming here, for example, as an entrepreneur, or maybe even you would like to try being a digital nomad for once, I've made 2 videos on those specific types of visa in the past, so you can go ahead and check them out. If you'd like my personal opinion on that, I would suggest going for the business manager visa, because it seems the digital nomad visa has left a lot of people disappointed. But in any case, you can go ahead and watch those 2 videos. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of useful information for you there. Now, after you've chosen the right visa for you, of course, you're going to have to prepare all the necessary documents, and that if you're coming as an entrepreneur, once again. Now, most of the things I'm going to be talking about in this video might be generally from the point of view of an entrepreneur. After all, that's what I'm doing, and that's what I can talk about with the most security. So in any case, once you've done that, you're going to have to prepare all your documents, and that includes your business plan, your proof of financial resources, and if necessary, any form of sponsorship, either from a company or from a business partner. Now, it's also worth noting that these things, these requirements and regulations tend to change, just like with anything else. So it's important to always stay on top of that, contact your embassies, your consulates, to be able to actually have the latest versions of the requirements and the regulations you're going to need when you apply for your visa. And now, for our next point, I think it's extremely important that you do not come to Japan empty-handed. You should have some form of a financial buffer. You should come with some form of savings beforehand. Don't come just completely empty-handed like I did. I actually came here to Japan with $0, and well, gladly I was fortunate enough to have a business that actually ended up making over 6 figures in its first year, but I would not suggest doing that, coming here with nothing, because particularly on that first year, you're going to incur a lot of expenses, personal expenses, your residence in the country, business expenses, all those things. And also, if you're starting your business anew, likely, then you should expect that first year is going to be fraught with tons of challenges and obstacles that are going to make it difficult to survive, so to speak. So you should definitely come with a decent enough amount of savings to allow you to navigate all that through the first 6 months, the first year of your stay in Japan, so that once you've gone through all of that, once you've gone through the first year of challenges, then you can actually plow through and start focusing on growing things. Now, as a side note, once again, it's very important to note that currently the government is offering grants and financial support to entrepreneurs, and particularly foreign entrepreneurs that are coming here to Japan, sort of to, of course, incentivize them to create their businesses here and revitalize and reinvent the market in the country. Now, I'm not in any way affiliated or associated with that. In fact, I'm not receiving any form of government grant at the moment, but I think that's important to keep in mind and something you should consider when you come here to Japan as well. Now, one more thing that I suggest doing before you come to Japan is actually drafting your actual business plan. If you're coming to create a new business here in the country, you should actually have all that information settled and prepared to present to the government. Now, like I've said in some of my previous videos as well, here in Japan, it is very important to present things in the right way. There's, as you might know, there's the concept of tatemae, which literally means built in front. And that's actually, the face that you give to the people, how you present yourself, both as a person and as a business owner, entrepreneur, or whatever it is, the way you present yourself. And of course, here, that is very important. And the more proper and prepared and well presented that your face, the face that you're giving them is, then the more likely it is that they're going to actually trust you and see you as a well-structured business, a well-structured individual as well. And that's likely going to make things a lot easier for you when it comes to, for example, applying for financing, for bank loans, for your residence, for other things like that. So my very, very strong suggestion is that you come with a business plan prepared, and a business plan that's particularly adapted to the Japanese market. Because just like many aspects of Japanese culture are very unique and special compared to other places around the world, the way the market behaves is also very special, and I'll get to that in just 1 second. Now, from my experience, one of the main reasons why your business will fail, or why your business could fail here in Japan, is because you either refuse, or you have difficulty with, or you just don't understand how to do things the Japanese way. Let me tell you what I mean. But you might be telling me, yeah, but that's not a big deal. I've been doing things my way for many years, and I've been running my business for a decade, and I'll just keep doing things like this. But let me tell you why that might not work in this case. Have you ever had any experience, for example, dealing with Japanese websites? Now, there might be one or two of you that will talk about that down in the comments, or maybe if you've even compared them with their Western equivalent. Like, for example, let's take Yahoo. If you go to most Western websites, you'll find that they tend to be very minimalistic, and they tend to be very logo focused and very image focused. And, it's actually a generally pleasant and calming experience. But when you go to a Japanese website, on the other hand, actually one of the first things that impressed me the most is that even on the main homepage, you're just welcomed by a giant wall of texts, never-ending texts that some of them, of course, I couldn't even read back then. And so the whole experience to navigate these websites was actually extremely frustrating and aggravating. But it turns out there's a reason for this. And the reason is that Japanese people actually find a sense of safety and relief in having all the necessary information up front. So when you're dealing with a customer, you tell them everything at the beginning, how much money it's going to take, everything they're going to get, everything they're going to miss, what risks there are. If there's a 1% that something might happen, they need to know. And so you have all these things, every single variety of product that you could, might, did, or will offer, everything is explained up front so that they already know everything they need. There are no unexpected surprises in the future, and there's also no misunderstandings. Now, for many of us, that could be actually quite overwhelming. I know it was for me at the beginning, but you have to understand that, yes, maybe business is a universal language, but there are dialects, and here we speak in a different dialect. So it's actually important to take these things into consideration and also learn things like how to hold proper meetings and how to interact with your partners properly, or with your customers, with your clients properly, because Japanese language actually has different levels depending on who you are talking to. And if you do those things in the right way, then you can be sure that you'll have much more harmonious interactions with your customers. Now, I know there's always going to be people who are going to say, yeah, but that's just too much, and it's like I'm sugarcoating things and I'm not able to say what I really think. But you have to understand this is a different culture and it's a different way of communicating. And when you come here, it's kind of your responsibility to adapt to those things. So that's when you actually have to stop and ask yourself, what really is the most important thing for you? Do you want to be able to just say whatever the hell you want, or are you trying to have a successful business? It's your choice. Now, when you finally come to Japan, when you actually set foot in Japan for the first time, the last thing you want to be doing is just stand up in front of the train station and look up at the skyscrapers and ask yourself, what next? And just be lost in the middle of the city. You have to surround yourself with the right people. And I don't necessarily mean your business partners or things like that. Hopefully, those are things that you would already have. But I'm talking about people like your real estate agents, your business advisors, your people that will help you navigate the laws and regulations and translate things for you and so on. And even banks, because all these things are going to make life a lot easier for you, particularly at the beginning. Because yes, unfortunately, it's true. From time to time, you might find people that just refuse to work with foreigners. From landlords telling you that I don't think that my apartment can withstand the weight of your furniture, to banks telling you that it doesn't matter how good your Japanese is, you will not be able to understand our bank's regulations, so please go somewhere else. These are two very real stories, by the way, from two close acquaintances of mine, and you'll see that they'll always try to give you some form of sideways excuse as to why they cannot offer you the services, but at the end of the day, the truth is that they just refuse to work with foreigners, because for them, working with a foreigner is a risk. Now, another very important point is that you should most definitely contact your local embassies or local consulate here in Japan, because very often they actually hold very fruitful networking events, and many times they also have some other kinds of associations or foundations that actually help you grow your network and grow your business and even channel more customers into your business. So that's most definitely one of the first things I did when I came to Japan, and I definitely advise you do the same. Now, as a slightly different note, the healthcare system here in Japan is actually excellent. I've made a video talking about that in the past, where I had a very close encounter with a Japanese kitchen knife. But it is true, it is an excellent service, it's very affordable, and so if you're actually planning on staying here for the long term, I strongly suggest enrolling in Japan's national health insurance. It offers great coverage to all its residents, and it also includes dental care, which is an important point to keep in mind. But you also have to keep in mind that Japan is always fraught with the possibility of having any number of natural disasters at any point, be that a tsunami, an earthquake, volcanoes, or whatever it is. So it's always recommended that you have all the necessary provisions at home in case of an emergency. You have to have a storage of drinking water, you have to have all the necessary food rations to last you for a reasonable amount of time, because despite the excellent infrastructure in the country, you never know what could happen and when it could happen. And now our next point is actually one that many people find extremely cumbersome, but I think it's still very, very important. You have to set up your personal stamps, and you have to do it the right way. You have to set up your income. It doesn't matter if you're a private person or if you have your own business, you have to have your own income. I've made a video about that in the past, so if you'd like to know all the details, everything you need to do, how to do it, where to do it, when to do it, you should go watch that video right after you finish this one. The link will be down below. But in short, if you're a private person, you're going to need likely two income. One that's going to be a very basic one to like sign off for your Amazon packages and things at home, and the other one is going to be to sign for all your legal documents. On the other hand, if you're a business owner, you're going to need about 5 of them, each of them with a different purpose. It's slightly more complicated, so go and watch that video if you'd like to learn more. Now, it's really not a very complicated process, but something you should do regardless. Now, most Japanese people will end up going to a shop or a convenience store in some cases, and they already have most Japanese last names in stock already pre-made for the basic rubber income that you need to sign for things at home. But for you, that's likely not going to be the case, because if you are likely a foreigner with a foreign name, then you'll have to have yours made to order. Gladly now you can do that online as well. You can just go onto the website, choose how you'd like your name to look, and they'll send it to you in a couple of days. Now, this is specifically for the income that's made of rubber. But for the other one, your legal income, you're likely going to have to go to an actual artisan, an income maker, and you're going to choose the material, whether it's made of wood or a stone or a gem or whatever. You tell him how you'd like it to look, and then he'll be chiseling your name in a tiny piece of stone, letter by letter. It's a bit more expensive, but that's why you use it for legal things only. So it's important to know that your first year in Japan is going to be full of changes, and with that you have to anticipate that it's also going to be full of obstacles and challenges and new things to understand. So like I said at the beginning, it's important to not come empty-handed, both in terms of your finances but also in terms of the people that surround you. And this means, of course, finding the right business advisor for you, finding the right person who can help you navigate all the laws and regulations and the language, and also consult with a Japanese accountant or with a tax advisor to make sure that you're actually paying things the right way, and that you can also take advantage of any possible or any available deductions for you. So all these things can help you survive and can help your business flourish in Japan. But there's also a number of mistakes that you have to be very careful about that could cost you the life of your business and of your stay in Japan. So if you'd like to know what those mistakes are, then go watch this video right here so that you can avoid them and also have a successful life in Japan. So don't miss it, and I'll see you over there.